Hi again then guys, and welcome to another installment of Quattroporte on Forza Horizon 3, the review series for the executive saloons and sedans, and also some classic ones as well. This is definitely not a classic, it's a much newer vehicle, and it's also not a real vehicle. It's of course from the Final Fantasy games, the 723 Quartz Regalia. This is a car which a lot of people are likening to the Cadillac 16. It's a pretty obvious comparison to make. It's a similar looking car, but I would actually say this looks more like the Chrysler Phaeton back from the Gran Turismo 2 days, if anyone remembers that. Pretty awesome concept car, doesn't have the recognition of the Cadillac 16. I love all three cars. This one probably the least of the three, and in terms of what it's capable of, in some ways, funnily enough, it's better than you might expect, and in some of the ways that you'd expect it to be good, it's perhaps not quite as good. So let's break it down. First of all, we have handling, and for the handling on this car, I'm actually going to give it a full 5, and that was one of the most surprising things for me personally. This car weighs 2.5 tons. That's big, that's heavy. And that's not typically the kind of layout and weight which you'd expect to give you good handling. Now, of course, it's not a real car, so they can kind of have poetic license with how they make the car handle and how they make it perform, and they very clearly have done, because it can outhandle a lot of cars which should be far better. I would say this has excellent handling for a vehicle of its size and weight, even in stock form. Now, as far as acceleration, on the other hand, and this is where we get into the opposite side, things which you would probably expect to be much better, given the potential power of that V12 engine, it's actually not that great. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5, because the only advantage that it has is that it's already pretty quick for its stock class. Apart from that though, the fully tuned performance in particular just doesn't live up to what you'd probably expect it to. It's not slow, but the other cars are quite simply quicker. Many of them are, at least. As far as top-end performance as well, and this was the biggest shocker for me, it really does underperform. I was expecting this car to easily be capable of around 240 miles per hour, if not more. It's no way near that. It struggles to pass 190, even with everything done to it. That's kind of a disappointment, and overall, I'm going to have to give it a 2 for that. As far as the value for money, well, I'm going to give it a 3, which is, of course, kind of in between. It's middle of the road, and the reason why is because at 500,000 credits, it's definitely not the best performance bargain out there, whether you won the car or got it from the auction house since then, but the fact that you can win it, or could at least, in the Forza-thon, does help. That does help a lot, and it has some use, especially I would say in the A-class. And finally, as far as its usability, which of course is directly tied into value, I'm again going to give it another 3, because, as I just said, it's pretty decent for Class A racing, but at the same time it's not amazing for that. But don't take it higher. If you take it higher than that, you're really going to struggle. The lack of top-end speed really hits this car hard on any track which gets above 150 miles per hour. Off the line, it's not all that quick, and it can pretty easily be beaten by a lot of other vehicles, not just sedans, but even hatchbacks or classics. So overall, I'm going to give the 723 Quartz Regalia a 64. But that's it for this pick overall. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, thanks for watching.